Hi, and thanks for joining us on another edition of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine as we're into our 11th season, and we are here in West Hartford. And let me turn it over to Rocky for you.
All right, this with us today is Vish, the general manager of Union Kitchen. Vish, thank you so much for having us out today to enjoy this delicious selection of wine.
And a little surprise, a little blind tasting to start off.
Yes, we were going to be, two of these are going to be blind. You have a thing that you do here. Perhaps you'd want to describe exactly how this works with the blind tasting?
Yeah, sure. So we offer a mystery wine by the glass option at our restaurant every day. So you get a 6-ounce pour of a wine. You can pick either a red or a white. And if you get the answer right, it's one of the wines that's off our bottle list. And if you win, you get a bottle to take home.
Oh, that's right. You won that, right?
He has.
I think I'm actually looking at the bottle.
Exactly. I brought it out there for bragging rights.
I have a feeling you brought that just because, and that was, I got to tell you, I do some blind tasting here and there. That was a tough call.
Yep.
That one,
very impressive.
That one was a tough call.
So since we're doing this show, I wanted to do something special. We don't normally do a mystery wine sparkling option for you guys, but today we are offering a mystery wine sparkling just for this show.
And I don't do a lot of blind tasting with sparkling wine, so this is going to be interesting for me because I think I know a lot about what the different types of sparkling wines, but I could make a complete jerk out of myself right now. So let's just.
Are we starting off on the right-hand side?
With the right-hand side, yep.
Right-hand side. All right. Nice bubbles right off the start.
Yeah. What are you smelling, Bobby? Am I allowed to ask you? Because you know what this is.
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
That's very Frenchy to me.
Getting some lemon. I'm getting some brioche.
A little lemon,
little bread,
nice and dry.
Which takes me to.
There's a little lemon there, though. That is nice.
Do you get any bread notes on this? I think I am.
Well, that's why I said French at first.
Which takes me away from Prosecco into either Cava or France. So let's try it.
I'm gonna say it's not a Cava. The bubbles seem a little bit too fine for it.
My favorite part of this is listening in as people are trying to guess.
Rocky will be the technical experts.
Okay,
Mine will just be the palate taste.
So Cava and I'm between Cava and this in France. It's got a lot of lemon, but Cava also has a lot of lemon. The thing that sets Cava apart for me is it almost has a tinge. There's usually a lot of bread on Cava because the way that they do the Cava is the same as champagne. I'm probably going to have to just take a wild guess, but if I had to guess on this one.
I'm also saying you don't have to guess the first one right away. I think we should have the second one and then put both in together.
I know what my choice is because the finest of those bubbles, right? We're going to go number 2 right now.
Yeah, I think I know where I'm going to go with that.
A completely different bouquet right off the start on this one.
I mean, I could just say right now I'm leaning toward a Blanc de Blanc champagne with this. If this is like a Cremant, then it's a very well done Cremant because it's got a lot of champagne qualities. It's got tremendous lemon fruit to it.
This one's definitely more bold. Definitely more bold.
Yeah, I mean, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, that would. But I'll revisit it. So, do you guys want to just guess now and then, or just do both of them?
I think maybe do both of them and guess both.
Very good. This is where confusion comes in blind.
That's my plan.
Yeah, you start second guessing yourself. I can't tell you the number of times that I have blind tasted, and I pick the wrong wines. I get them both correct, but in the wrong order because the taste is still lingering when you're going on to the second one, and you convince yourself.
What I like is there's really a substantial difference in the flavor profile for both. Mm-hmm. Even though it's substantial, it's subtle enough where they're both delicious on their own right.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning towards the first one as my favorite, and I still think I'm going to stick with my first gut, which was some type of French sparkling.
So I can't really, with the lighting in here, but I'm getting on the nose, thinking there might be a little bit of age on this one. Typically with aged white wines are going to be a little bit darker, more towards the, I guess, kind of caramel color. What about you, Bobby? What do you smell on this second one?
The second one, I didn't get quite the, it's much more subtle, so I'm getting a little bit less of the lemony. I do get a little bit of the bread of that, so I think you could be right about regards to the French aspect of it. But, you know, I'm going to go on the limb and say they're both French, but I don't think they are, but I'm going to go on the limb and say they're both French.
I think that would be a good guess. I would be surprised if you gave us 2.
Oh, that could be the trick, though. That could be
Yeah. I mean, it might be.
And this is what often happens. People start trying to figure out my mystery as opposed to the wine itself.
Just on the cavas we've had in Prosecco's, none of that stuck out with me for either one of these.
I don't think either of these is Prosecco because Prosecco tends to not have the bready quality. Although Prosecco does have a pretty sharp lemon to it, and I mean both of these have a sharp lemon. But I'm going to move away from Prosecco. This is not in my wheelhouse for blind tasting to do.
All right, I'll give you another second, Brock. Then we got to figure out what it is. So we got 4 more wines today.
Okay, I am going to say that it is Champagne Cava.
All right. And you think both are French?
I'm going to go with Rocky. I'm going to go with the Champagne. I'm going to still say they're both French. I'm still going to say they're both French.
Okay.
One's a Champagne, one's not.
Okay, great. So here's the reveal. So the first wine, you guys are going to be surprised. This is the second wine. This is the Champagne. So this is Lilage Peugeot.
So the second one was the Champagne.
It was the Champagne.
Exactly what I said I always do.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. The first one was actually Prosecco.
Okay.
But it was from Treviso DOC. So our friend Thomas from Henry Provisions is going to be really happy because this, I think, is fantastic Prosecco.
I got to say, it's probably some of the best Prosecco I've ever tasted.
They only make 1,000 cases, all estate grown, hand-picked. From Treviso, which is a step up from regular Prosecco. This is Champagne from the Montagne de Reims. You were right, it has like a little more richness to it.
I gotta say, you've blown me away with that Prosecco. We were just talking about Prosecco the other day, and Rocky, sometimes you're not a big fan of Prosecco. Sometimes
because they typically don't have any kind of bread lees aged with them taste, and they're very high acidity and kind of lemony.
This is brilliant. This is probably one of the, I can tell you right now, it's one of the best Proseccos I've had.
Yeah, that is one of the best
Proseccos. Yeah, you sell both of these, obviously.
We do. They're both. So the Champagne is actually available by the glass. We pour this by the glass, and the Prosecco is available by the bottle.
And the price point for these 2 bottles?
So the Prosecco is about between 40 and 50, and the Champagne is between 25 and 29. I'm kind of giving it away, but I want people to have the chance to try Grow Champagne.
Really impressive. Those are fantastic choices. So if you're in the chance, you get a chance to stop here in Union Kitchen, and you're a bubbles person like I am, you will not go wrong for either one of these. But I'm leaning towards that Prosecco because that is some of the best Prosecco I've ever had.
Great.
So thank you very much on it.
If I had done these in the opposite order, I think I would have gotten the Champagne right. Because now that I'm tasting it, but I did. My brain just got confused on that.
But you were on the right track. You said it's like a Blanc de Blanc, which is accurate. With the Prosecco, you do get more of that lemony apple character.
So any kind of like Pinot Noir or Pinot Meunier flavoring to the first one. So.
Well, that was very exciting to start off the first 2.
Yeah.
So Vish, what can you say about the next one we're going into?
So this is actually a mystery wine that I was pouring a while ago that Rocky actually came in and got correctly. So this is the Domaine du Pelican Arbois Chardonnay. So this is made by a legendary Burgundian producer, Marquis d'Angeville from Volnay. So the story is that Guillaume, the winemaker, was in a 2 Michelin star restaurant, and he asked for a wine that wasn't from Burgundy. And when the sommelier dropped this off, he also tasted it blind, and he tasted the wine and was blown away. And he said, "I'm sorry, I asked for wine that wasn't from Burgundy." And he said, "This is not from Burgundy, this is from Jura." And this was in 2005. So then in 2007, he went and he purchased this plot of land, and he makes Chardonnay, Savagnin, and Trois Cépages, which is a red blend here. I think some of the most compelling wine. The Jura is an excellent region, one of the hottest regions among Soms. I think this wine is great. It's a Chardonnay.
I tend to be pretty harsh on my Chardonnay, so I'm not a huge Chardonnay fan, though there are some that I do like, so I'm very curious about that.
Do you like the France or California?
Generally, it's the French Chardonnays. California's just too buttery for my taste.
So when Lincoln and I came in and we tasted this, we hedged our bets because we had 2 glasses, so we got two guesses. So our backup guess was actually Burgundian Chardonnay, because I kind of said this could easily be Burgundian Chardonnay.
Oh my God, you're absolutely correct. I mean, you poured this to me, or you gave me this to do. No way would I think this even tastes like a Chardonnay.
Yep,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it just has the right balance between being rich but being lean at the same time. It has like that. It has quite a bit of mineral to it.
What would you pair this with on one of your many restaurant offerings? What would you pair with?
So with this, I would do a lot of the. It depends. If you want to complement a dish, I would do it with our scallops. I think richness from the Chardonnay, yeah. So with our scallops, I think this would be great. We also do a plant-based pasta dish with cauliflower, So if you are in the mood to not have any meat or seafood, I think this would go great with that as well. Really complementing that rich cauliflower flavor. We add a little bit of miso paste to it.
This is unbelievable.
Yep.
This is really spectacular.
Yeah, this is a really good chard. It is.
And all the years we've done the show, Rocky, we've had Chardonnays only a few times, but we've drank Chardonnays. And like I said, I'm very particular. And generally, I gear towards French Chardonnays only because they tend not to be as cloying. And this is up there with some of the
this with shellfish, lobster, or crab would just be in drawn butter. Oh my God! Yeah,
it's funny because it's got a pretty good viscosity too on the glass.
Oh, the tears running down this thing are running down pretty slow, and I'm guessing this is probably 14.5 maybe alcohol. Where are we with it? I don't know.
It's actually pretty low. It's 12.5.
That's amazing.
Is there a shelf life generally on a Chardonnay like this? Or can you keep this for
Honestly, I think you can let this sit for a while. It's high quality winemaking. Marquis d'Angeville makes Volnay, some of the most expensive wine in the world. So the first thing he did when he wanted to go to Jura is he had his geologist check out the soil in this region just to get some analysis. And she said, I'm glad you're going to the Jura because a lot of those plots of vineyards are even better than the ones we see in Burgundy. You could easily age this for a few years. I will let you know that this is a pretty allocated wine, so it's hard to get. It is available at our restaurant, but at a shop like the Wise Old Dog, he should be able to cut you a deal.
And the price point, roughly, between something like this?
So we price our wines extremely fairly because I like to reward people for trying something different. You don't have a lot of people come in and say, I'll have a bottle of Shiraz. So this is between $80 and $90. And I don't do half-off wines only because I feel like every night here there's a half-off bottle of wine. Everything's priced fairly.
I will say the quality of wine especially with a restaurant like this, people are going to tend to know a little bit about wine, or you want to know a little bit about what they like. And that's one of the things we Rocky always talk about is you want people to try things that are off their wheelhouse that they might not be familiar with. And somebody like myself who would see that as a Chardonnay, to try that and to have this kind of experience, it's a mind-altering experience. That's how good it is. It's just fantastic.
And this is going to retail for north of maybe around $60, $70. I mean, this is a good wine. Yeah. So that's a very fair price that you guys have on it.
All right. So really, 3 thumbs up so far to start off.
Great.
I don't know how we didn't do best in class time.
All right. So that was a great segue because we were talking about getting something that you wouldn't normally get. So we're going to have an orange wine from Slovenia. So for those people who aren't familiar with orange wine, it's white wine made like a red wine. So you ferment the grapes with the skin on, and what it does is it gives it this little orange hue. A lot of people ask us, are there oranges in this orange wine? There are no oranges in orange wine.
It's just a name.
It's so in Slovenia and parts of Eastern Europe, they would just call this white wine, but it's been marketed in the West as an orange wine. And what's unique about it is I think this is the perfect food wine because you get the best of both worlds. You get the freshness and acidity like you would get from a white wine, but when you swirl it around your mouth, you see it has like structure and tannin that you would sometimes expect from a red wine.
Wow.
So this is going to be a blend of 4 different grapes. So it's primarily Pinot Gris, but it also has Welsh Riesling, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc. It's made by a woman-owned winery in Slovenia who focus on sustainable farming. This wine is also minimal intervention, meaning the focus is on the farming, not a lot of additives.
Nice. And
we offer this by the glass at our restaurant.
I will say this is one that really people should give a shot if they're not familiar with it. And Mike, we talked about this, I think, on our last show, that area of the world, they've been making wine there for just as long as they have anywhere else.
We had an Armenian.
And that Armenian was corked.
A couple of
that whole area. I mean, since
areas that you don't think about, but they have some really good wines coming from those areas.
This is really unique. I got to say, you're right about the fruit pairs with this.
And what I often find interesting about orange wine is that it's either someone who drinks a lot of wine appreciates it, or someone who's never had wine ever, and they normally have cocktails. I feel like this is interesting because it's a flavor profile that they can kind of get behind. It's also hard to find an orange wine at a good price point, so this did take a little bit of maneuvering, but...
and the price point?
So we pour this by the glass anywhere between $14 and $17.
Oh, I think that's fair.
Yep.
That's certainly fair.
So my wife and I, there's a place called Italy. They're all over the world. There's one in Boston. We did an orange wine tasting there. We tasted 4 of them. I hated every single one of them worse than the one before it. This one, I actually like. I was scared to taste this wine because I know how much I hated those ones that we did, and it was not a cheap tasting either. This has I think what those wines had like a severe phenolic bitterness to them that was just mouth puckering, and this was a very well balanced phenolic bitterness. I'm not going to start you. I promised Sandy that I would not use big stupid words.
Good.
An easy way to think about phenolic bitterness is like the pith of an almond. So if you ever have like that slight bitter flavor, that's kind of what phenolic bitterness is like.
Is the alcohol the same pretty much, 12 to 13%?
Yeah, it's pretty low. Yep, 13%.
So this, Bobby, what fruit? I want to see if you're heading in the same direction, because it almost looks like it's supposed to taste. And when I'm tasting here, for me, I'm getting a little bit of orange on this, which is weird for an orange wine. You would think that's kind of counterintuitive.
I would say blood orange more than an orange. I think it's a little bit more blood orange.
Okay.
I also find quite a bit of like stone fruit character, almost like peaches and like nectarines.
Peach was the first thing I got,
but it's another wine that's really dry. It's not really
super dry.
No cloying at all.
Super dry. Yep.
It just sort of rolls on the tongue, palate. Just it's really delicious.
Yeah, I would actually like to try this with various types of cheeses.
Yep, I would absolutely
to just see how that balances out. This is a really cool wine. I'm impressed.
Yeah, glad you like it.
Wow, that's really fantastic. So, anything coming up in the restaurant over the next week or two that people might be interested in knowing about in regards to tastings or food pairings or wine tasting dinners or anything like that?
So we actually offer a tasting menu every day of the week. So it's 4 courses with wines paired with every course, and we do interesting wines from all over the world, including like a Madeira, and some of these wines that we're pouring. So we pair our crudo course with the champagne that's on the table. We're also going to be trying the Nebbiolo. We pair that with the entree course.
What's coming up next?
Yeah, that's what's coming up next. So we offer that every day. And in December, we will be doing a natural wine dinner. So that's something.
Wine? Yep. Oh, that's phenomenal. And all this stuff is available on your website?
It is available on our website, yes.
Well, Rocky, I don't know. We're on an upward spiral here, an upward trajectory.
Yeah, right.
Where do you go from here? Right to the red.
And I love the idea of the tasting where you guys, people can come in and be intimidated by what do I pair with this, but to have it automatically on the menu as opposed to just attending a wine dinner that's here or there. You got it every day. Like that's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, we also wanted it to be approachable and for people to feel like it's at a price point that it doesn't feel like it has to be a fancy night.
Yeah.
A lot of people come in, dress casually, sit at the bar, and we do the tasting menu with them, and they enjoy it.
Well, I'm really curious for our next little gem, so I'll let you start over there.
Perfect. So this is the Iuli Maladia Nebbiolo. So this is from the Monferrato in Piedmont. I wanted to do a Nebbiolo because we're just coming upon truffle season. So, if you're in Alba or the Piedmont, this is definitely something that you're going to be having at this time of the year.
Look at this beautiful color.
But what's interesting about this wine is it's called Maladia, which translates to bad idea in Italian. It's because the Italians in Piedmont told the winemaker Fabrizio it's a bad idea to make Nebbiolo in the Monferrato. That's where you make Barbera. He went to prove them wrong, and this wine has really achieved cult status. So we do offer this by the glass. I think it's a really pretty expression of Nebbiolo, which is normally used in a Barolo or a Barbaresco. For me, this leans more towards that floral, pretty flavor that you get from a Barbaresco.
Oh, you can smell the rose petal jumping out of the glass at you.
Oh, sweet chimney crickets.
Bright cherry, yeah. Rose petals and bright cherry.
Black cherry, definitely.
Man, I don't want to drink this because I wish they made cologne that smelled like this. Oh.
It's the kind of wine that you could actually have an intimate relationship with.
And that's
how good it is.
That's a pretty color for Barolo. It's got almost like a Pinot Noirish color in this.
It does.
The lighting is just weird here.
No, and I think that's exactly what makes Nebbiolo interesting is that it's a thin-skinned grape, so you could mistake it to be a Pinot, but when you swirl it around your mouth and you feel those tannins, you know you're having Nebbiolo.
I do love my tannins.
Yeah.
And is there a vintage on this one? Does this got a little age to it, or?
No, it doesn't actually. So it's pretty young, which is again what's interesting. The Nebbiolos that we have by the barcode, I like to keep them like between. Right now, if I were to drink it 2014, 2015, this is a much younger Nebbiolo. But I feel like since it's from the Monferrato, it doesn't have as much of that big, bold structure that you come to expect. So it's something that's pretty that you can drink right now.
And if stored properly, you can store this for a few more years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Nebbiolo is one of the most easily storable wines that exist out there.
Yep.
You keep them for a long time.
And what is the price point on this one, guys?
So we offer this by the glass anywhere between 19 and 22. And we also have the Yuli Barbera, which is one of the hardest wines to get. I have a few bottles, so if anyone comes in and asks for that wine, I might be able to open a bottle for you.
Oh my God. If I had some truffles with this.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Like I say, Ryan, I think at the end of the show, it's going to be one of our toughest ones to take best in glass. It's probably going to be one of our toughest.
And they've done a good job toning down the tannin because, like Barolo, it's got to be 5 years old. That's just the laws that they have up there. And so with age, the tannin's kind of toned down. When you just have straight Nebbiolo from a region that allows you to have a new vintage, a lot of times they can really just dry your mouth out. And this one's, I can definitely taste the tannins in it, but it's very well balanced as far as what they've done with the alcohol, the tannins, the fruit. Nebbiolo has a lot of alcohol, it has a lot of fruit, it has a lot of tannin, it has it's just everything. It checks every box. So it can be messed up by a lot of places, and this is super well balanced. I like this one.
Vish, what are some of your dishes that are sort of special to the restaurant that you guys sort of create that maybe make you a little bit unique compared to some of the other restaurants here in West Hartford?
Yeah, so I mean, since we're on the topic of Nebbiolo, Chef's favorite protein, Chef Tim East, his favorite protein is duck. So we actually make a duck prosciutto in-house. So Chef takes 19 days to make that duck prosciutto. We pair that with bread from a local bakery, so we use small state provisions. And then we pair that with an amaro butter, so a rhubarb amaro butter. So it's like all these earthy flavors that go well together that, for me, Nebbiolo is what I want to be drinking with that. So we try to make as many things in-house as possible, so duck is definitely one of our signature dishes.
Proteins that just sort of exploded lately.
Yeah.
See people experimenting with different type of duck meals. The thing with duck is it sort of has to be done sort of right, because if not, it could suffer a little bit.
I agree. Yeah, no, we have duck throughout the menu. Duck prosciutto as an app, we do a duck breast entree, and we also have duck fat potatoes as a side. So,
oh goodness,
yeah,
I'm getting hungry. When are we going to be done with this?
I was lucky that Sandy will be eating in the restaurant, which I have to eat with my wife at home. But all right, so we are number 4. So what can you tell us about number 4?
So this is going to be the Lopez. So it's the one over there. This is the Lopez de Heredia Vino Tintonia. So we're going to have some Rioja. This wine just came in, also pretty highly allocated. We occasionally do treat people. So yesterday we opened a couple of bottles and we were offering it by the glass on a first come first serve basis. So this is from 2010. They just released this vintage. Lopez de Heredia is one of the oldest Rioja producers. They make old style Rioja. They've been doing it for 145 years. It's been in the family the entire time. One of the only producers in Rioja that makes 100% estate grown fruit. So Vino Tintonia is one of their single vineyards where all the fruit comes from there. They also make their own barrels. Also hard to get wine, but
they make their own barrels.
They do. Oh. Yep, they do everything from scratch.
So many vineyards sort of either import their barrels, they use California or French, but they make their own.
Yeah, they make their own, and what I love about them is that there are a lot of trends, as Rocky, I'm sure, knows, with wine where, whether the techniques they're using in the vineyard or in the winery, they've stayed true to what's made them Lopez de Heredia. That style has never kind of gone away. One of the best Riojas. I double decanted it for you guys, so it's had enough time to breathe. So it should really be soft and mellow right now.
It's very soft. I think that's one of the first things that hit me. I do like Spanish wines, but sometimes they can be a little astringent right off the bat.
Yep.
This is extremely soft.
Yep.
Right off the bat. So even if you're not that familiar with Spanish wines because you've had them and they're a little astringent, this is not astringent at all. But you said you opened this up a little while ago, so it's had some breathing room. Delicious. Absolutely delicious.
And also, I find this wine to be well integrated. You do have quite a few Riojas where the oak really speaks to you, or like you said, the acidity really speaks to you. I feel like this is a well integrated wine that really brings all those elements together.
Yeah, the thing about Rioja is that they use American oak, which American oak tends to have these coconut dill flavors to them that, if not integrated well enough in it, can be very pungent and overpowering with the Tempranillo grape. And this one is not. I'm not getting a mouthful of dill. I can definitely taste some of it. I don't know, maybe they use French oak for this, but I'm guessing they probably used American oak, because what they tend to do in Rioja is they don't well, I guess sometimes they do, but they don't import the barrels. They import the American oak, and then they make the barrels there, which is a cost-effective way of doing it. But they can really be oak bombs a lot of times. They overdo the oak in the Rioja. But this is a
now, this little gem, I'm sure you pair this with a lot of interesting things.
So we recently did a dinner where we did a whole suckling pig. So Chef even brought out the suckling pig outside. So I think this with suckling pig be amazing. We also have a pork belly that we pair with some vinegar peppers, parsnip puree. I think this would really cut through that, but also stand up to like the flavor of the pork belly. That's what I would have.
Pork is an interesting one. It's always tough sometimes to pair things with pork. You don't know where that stands. Red meat is, I mean, it's not technically a red meat, but this would be spectacular. So in our remaining few minutes, Vish, is there anything else you'd like to add as to what's going on at the restaurant between now and the holidays? Are you doing anything for Christmas or New Year's or anything like that? Or?
So, I mean, Christmas and New Year, we will have special menus, but we do a lot of interesting things every day. I like to kind of have things spread out throughout the week. So we do offer the mystery wine every day of the week. We do have the tasting menu every evening as well. If you did ever come on Friday and Saturday to the bar, we have a special late night menu that we do just at the bar. And we do natural wine flights there, and we try to change the theme every week. So we kind of use that as a test kitchen for our bar program. So the bartenders and me, we craft different cocktails before we put it on the next seasonal menu.
I think Rocky was telling me earlier, you guys have, here in the restaurant, have probably one of the best wine menus here in town, I believe.
Well, I'll let Rocky say that. I don't know if I can.
So I think Wine Enthusiast puts out a list of the top wine restaurants in the area. And I remember reading it, and you know, you've got your Millwrights and Max downtown. And I said, wow, Union Kitchen. I didn't know that you guys had an extensive list like that. But I think there were only like 3 restaurants that made their list of best wine lists in this region. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
You're doing something right.
And you haven't been hurt by the supply chain. You're still able to get stuff in, no problem.
So it does take a lot of maneuvering and finding the right options and alternatives. The supply chain is hard. We went through periods where we had problems getting sunset. But you know, through the right resources and finding good options to offer as alternatives, like a Gruner Veltliner instead of a Sauvignon Blanc, is very satisfying to a lot of people. So,
I got to say, it's been spectacular. Rocky, we just have time to try to do best in glass. What do you think? Is it even worth it?
This is quite subjective.
I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to probably say that first sparkling. That
was good. I'm going to probably have to go with the Jura Chard, though, because that is phenomenal. Maybe we can have a split best in glass.
We'll have a split one.
Do you want to be the split vote for us? Which one of these do you like the best? So you're probably going to upset one of your suppliers if you pick one.
So actually, luckily, both of the ones that you guys pick come from the same supplier. So either way, it's a win-win for them.
Yeah, everything here was spectacular tonight, so you wouldn't go wrong either way. I want to thank Vish for having us here at Union Kitchen here in West Hartford. So thanks for watching. I'm Bobby P.
I'm Rocky Holland.
And keep all of us
in your wine cellar.